Hey,
Sam,
how's it
thank
going?
good. How you doing? Thank you for joining me today on Press Day for Genie.
Thank you, man. Thanks for talking.
Um, yeah, where do I start, man? I watched this film last night, and I love it. Who doesn't like Christmas? Who doesn't like genies? Let's get that out of the way first.
Totally. Well, I appreciate it. I'm glad you dug it.
So, what are you hoping for when the viewers tune in to watch this? What are you hoping to get out of this film?
Yeah, I mean, I think, working with Richard Curtis, who wrote it, and Melissa McCarthy and Paapa Essiedu, who star in it, our aim, was honestly just to make something that was kind of cozy and sweet and this kind of like warm hug of a movie that people could watch around Christmas time and that it would be, I think, especially, I was thinking about, wanting it to be a little bit in the tradition of movies I grew up loving in the 90s and into the 2000s, whether that's, Home Alone and Home Alone 2 or Elf or, even not Christmas movies like Mrs. Doubtfire or something, but sort of just, I think it's the kind of movie they don't make that much anymore. These kind of like, classy, glossy, family friendly bangers that, now I mean, I think it's like funny because at the time, Mrs. Doubtfire is like a kid's movie or whatever, but now people watch it and it's like, Kramer versus Kramer or something compared to,
Right.
a lot of like, stuff that gets made now. So I think that was what was really fun for me was to try to make it a love letter to those kinds of movies and yeah, I think very simply we just want it to be something people can, watch with friends and family and loved ones and that kids and parents and grandparents can watch and none of them will roll their eyes. They can just have fun together and that was our aim.
How did this script fall in your lap? And when you were going through it and you were reading it, what went through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think, this all started when I had a couple meetings with the production company and Working Title, and they've made, most of Richard's movies, and a number of other movies that I really love, a bunch of Edgar Wright movies and Coen movies, Coen Brothers movies and stuff like that. Not to mention a billion other movies. They're really one of the best production companies in the world. If anyone were to look at their track record. And yeah, I had a couple meetings with one of their executives, and at the end of the second meeting, she said, there is this other script we have, and it's written by Richard Curtis. And I was like, oh my God, well, let me read it. I would love to read it. And honestly, I didn't think I really, not to be like falsely modest or anything, I didn't think I had like a shot at directing it. So I was mostly just like, maybe I could just meet him or something. And luckily he ended up watching a TV show that I'd made and really responded to it and then did want me to direct it, which was pretty amazing. And getting to collaborate with him, getting to collaborate with Melissa and Papa, it was unbelievable. But I think, it was, yeah, definitely like, it was a very kind of charmed process and it was really fun to get to work with all of them.
You mentioned Richard Curtis, he's the writer of the movie. How was it like collaborating with him now, like bouncing ideas off each other? How did that go?
It was amazing. I mean, I think Richard and I have a really good dynamic, and I think there's a really good balance of, I'm kind of in awe of his abilities and his talents, and he was really sweet to me, and I think we just both tried to get the best out of each other, and it was a really good collaboration. It was sort of a thing where obviously I was, generally I write the things that I direct. And so this was kind of a new experience for me, which was really fun. But when all of a sudden, it generally, like when I write something, I'm honestly the first one to go, hey, this scene's not working. Let's figure something else out. Or, hey, that line sounds weird or whatever. And obviously when you have a Richard Curtis script, there's a different respect and a different kind of philosophy with which you approach it. So I was sort of trying to thread that needle, and I think with Melissa being so incredible at improv and Richard having written such a kind of precise and delicate and thoughtful script, it was my job to kind of find that balance, to thread that needle, and to kind of get the spontaneity of fresh stuff and improv and new ways to approach scenes and let that kind of kick the script up a notch, but also not just doing my usual thing, which is going hey, let's figure something else out.
Right. You mentioned improv and with the cast and everything. Also, like, what was one advice you gave like Melissa about bringing this character to life, especially as a genie?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, directing, especially directing actors, is almost, and this gets said a lot, so obviously I'm far from the first person to say this, but it's almost entirely casting. I think generally there's a quote I like, I think it was Billy Bob Thornton, who said, like, if you find yourself having to say too much to the actor while you're directing them, you probably cast the wrong person.
Yeah.
And so much of it is, to me, it's like you go, okay, Melissa McCarthy's playing a genie. I just want to like get into a foxhole and like duck down and hide and let her rip. You know what I mean? To use a sort of like battle metaphor, but it's that sort of thing. You just want to like get out of the way, and so, I think it was less, me giving her advice, because obviously she's, so talented and so capable, and more just me trying to create an environment where she felt like she could try anything, and she knew that we were on the same page, and that, that I had her back, and that, and that, yeah, we were able to kind of find that balance together. It's more than anything just kind of with her, with Paapa, with any actor, my job, my aim, my desire always is to kind of create an environment where they feel safe to try stuff, and stuff that's not going to work, or whether it works or not, it doesn't matter, because that's how you get, the magic, the great stuff is when the performers are not self-conscious and not thinking about whether or not, what they're doing is going to look stupid or something.
Amazing. So we have a Genie November 22nd on Peacock. Sam, I want to thank you for giving me a few minutes today.
Of course. Thanks so much.
Have a great day.
You too.